what's happening with students in the UK? Well, the UK government has announced as a part of the new graduate route that international students who complete a PhD from summer 2021 can stay on in the UK for a period of 3 years after study to live and work. As previously announced, students who've successfully completed their undergraduate and master's degrees will also be able to stay on for a period of 2 years after their study. In addition, there will be a number of changes to further streamline the immigration process at this time. Well, we're joined by Vignesh. He's a PhD student from the King's College in London. We also have with us Sanam Arora. She's the founder and chairperson of the National Indian Students and Alumni Union in UK. So let me first begin this conversation with Vignesh. Vignesh, contrary to what we're seeing in the US, the UK has made life for foreign students, relatively easier. There's been, several extensions that have been given and promises to further streamline immigration for students.
Yes, in fact, UK has been really welcoming and vis-a-vis the students. And right from last year, the developments have been in favor of students, be it the graduate route, post-study work visa, 2 years, now the extension for 3 years with respect to the PhD students. It has been, and then the communication that the UK government has been engaging with the students has been really warm. And then as a student community, we do feel really safe and undisturbed at the time of a pandemic that's actually causing us a lot of trouble.
All right. Sanam Arora, what's the general sentiment among Indian students in the UK currently? It's been an extremely difficult time for many students, many of them away from their families. Many students have chosen not to return back. Our classes completely online. What's the general atmosphere in the UK?
So it's been quite a mixed atmosphere leading up to now. There's two very distinct pieces here. There's the current cohort of students who've been impacted by the coronavirus pandemic, where largely the British government has really risen to the occasion and British universities have really helped out students. And where there have been some students that have fallen through the safety net, for instance, they've had difficulties with accommodation or a lot of people have lost their jobs as a result of the pandemic. So students who've been using part-time income to supplement their sort of living expenses and pay off their living expenses have been somewhat negatively affected. For those, we've sort of stepped up and helped out food and groceries, etc. So there's been, and a lot of the disturbance and sort of troubles that the current lot went through has been because they've been obviously trapped in the UK in a certain way. So putting that to a side, because that's an unprecedented situation, largely the sentiment is one of great positivity. Now, we've been campaigning, SAO, the organization I run, we've been campaigning to get this post-study work visa back for about 6 years now. So in September last year, when it was finally announced, it was a big sort of victory. And since then, really, we also recently carried out a survey of prospective students that wish to start from September onwards. And actually, the number one reason, apart from the brand of the university, remains their desire to get international work experience. And 80% of the respondents in our survey actually said that the reason they've applied to a British university is primarily because of having the post-study work visa in place as a key driver. So actually, contrary to a lot of popular belief and popular sentiment that's going around right now, we actually believe that the UK can almost double its number of Indian students because it is now starting to get the right environment in place.
All right, and what's also interesting, Vignesh, is the fact that this post-study work visa that's been extended to PhD and undergrad students, nothing has changed in a pandemic scenario as opposed to what we're seeing in several other parts of the country, the US especially, threatening to deport students. So that's heartening, and like Sanam is saying, this could actually double or even triple the number of students who now want to apply to the UK.
In fact, yes, the findings of the NISAO report are actually fascinating and really harbor well for the UK and the education sector in the UK. And more importantly, the human resource that needs to be tapped in the wake of Brexit The UK is actually looking at, and there is also a strong diasporic presence of Indians in the UK, and therefore this is actually a natural policy move that would actually intensify our ties in the wake of Brexit, and then the Indians rising up to sort of secure and then mutually grow along with Britain as it's testing new waters in the wake of Brexit. And there are, at this stage there are a few hiccups because of the pandemic that's just set in.
Right.
But then in a year or two, we would be actually seeing significant, and I guess that the multiplier would be significantly positive.
Right.
With respect to the benefits that both the Indian student community, the Indian diaspora, and then the United Kingdom would sort of benefit out of this.
All right, a lot of positives there, of course, for the UK government as well. Indian students end up paying, much higher fees than what domestic students actually do pay. But good news for Indian students who are looking to pursue an education abroad. The UK has opened its doors and also promised to further streamline immigration for foreign students. Appreciate you, Sanam and Vignesh, for joining us on that story.